Good evening. Welcome to another Beer 30, guys. Sanity session. Chill out. We made another week so far. But here's to you. Here's to me. Should we ever disagree? Here's to me. Skull, brothers. Cho. Yo, cheers, skull, pros, etc. Mm-hmm. Muy bien. Muy bien. Very good. Very good. Anyway, been a good day. Roof is 99% done. I'll show you some more videos on that starting tomorrow. And what else? This is a sanity session. You know what I mean? This is where we chill out, relax, smoke a blunt, drink a glass of wine or a glass of tea or coffee or whatever you're into, and chill out. Because I came up with something to talk about. Oh, I also, as you know, I mentioned in the comment called right at the very end that I got a dog coming. Yeah, I've got. They're gonna. Well, anyway, Monday, sometime Monday. But I'll let you know all about it then. But what else, guys? I don't know how many of you will remember any of this. I grew up in a small town in South Texas, Kennedy, Kenedy, one N. Population then was about maybe 2,500 or so in that range, mostly farmers. There were some oil and gas and stuff, but enough said. It was just a small town, not much going on. You know, no internet, really no TV, phones if you could find one. We didn't. We had one, 6 or 8 party, whatever it was, and but no, it was your typical farm boy life. And now, believe me, the people that lived on farms, or the children that lived on farms, were raised altogether different than the children that grew up in the town or the city, because it was a whole different way of living. You know, you had wide open spaces and animals to tend and all kinds of stuff, so there was a difference. But anyway, some of you may recall this, but in the 1950s, and it probably extended into the 1960s, whenever the new car models were released, no one really knew what they looked like. And they came into town on train cars, or else they brought them in on those car things, trucks, but they were covered. You couldn't see them. No, they were all. It was all a big secret, man. In fact, the dealership would put paper across the windows of the dealership, the big glass that you looked in to see the cars, and that would all be covered. And me and some other guys would try to sneak around back to the dealership and take a peek. Couldn't do it, man. Couldn't sneak in. They were there waiting for you. They didn't want you to know anything until the official day to show that vehicle. And in Kennedy, Texas, we had a Ford dealership, we had a Dodge dealership, Dodge, Chrysler, Plymouth, and we had a Buick dealership. I believe that was Oldsmobile too. And then we had a Chevrolet dealership. Believe it or not, all of them were right there in that little old town. They sure were. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And but anyway, it was a big deal, man. And so we'd always try to sneak a look, and but again, it was a big secret deal. It was usually they arrived in Kennedy, Texas. I want to say in end of September, 1st October. That was the new model year back then, and or the beginning. And yeah, it was a really exciting moment, to be able to go and see the new cars, because we'd go to one dealership, another, it's just a bunch of kids. We didn't have enough money to buy crap. But one of the things I found early on was that in the 1950s and the 1960s, for some reason, they tried to hide where you filled it up with gasoline. And that was one of the first things I tried to find out. And the 1956 Chevrolet and the 1957 Chevrolet had me fooled. I believe this is correct. It was in the tail light. Yeah, on the 56, you turn this little thing and it opened up, and on the 57, I think it just opened. But anyway, yeah. But they always try to do something cute, and that was a time when cars were built like Sherman tanks. They were huge, though. I mean, the inside of a Chrysler Imperial, you could probably put 3 cars in there today. I mean, they were huge. I mean, you could put 4 grown-ups in the back, 2 or 3 in the front, and enjoy your day. You know what I mean? And comfortable and quiet. Yeah, they were all of that. But they weren't very fuel efficient. I'm sure of that because gasoline was maybe, I don't know, at the pump, gasoline pump, 10 or 12 cents a gallon was about it. For well, just regular was back then was all you had. You didn't have unleaded. There was none of that until later on, many years later. And they, as far as the turn signals and stuff, that was all coming at that time, and the amber lights in the front, that was a change. But yeah, the fins on the back, the 57 Chevy had the fins. They had a Chrysler, let me think, was it a Chrysler Imperial? Or it might have been, I think it was a Plymouth. But it had fins, like this in the back. I mean, big, huge fins, man. And yeah, they were into that. I mean, Detroit spared no steel. And they were made out of steel, basically rolled steel. I don't think there was anything, maybe a few things were aluminum, I'm not sure. But it was a very, very interesting time. And for me, I graduated from high school in 1963, okay? And then I went out to work in whatever different things I could find. I was working on the jug line for a seismograph crew. Well, I actually did some other things, but that was one of the things I was doing, making pretty good money. And they came out with the Ford Mustang. The Ford Mustang actually came out, it was called a 1964 and a half. And that's what I got. I had to order it, but it didn't take that long to get it back then. I mean, the price was $1,995, which I thought was astronomical at the time. And my daddy signed for me at the bank to get me a loan. And I had to pay him $75 a month. Because I put down I think I put down a pretty good little down payment. Not great, I don't remember, probably 20%. And ordered the car, came in. It was a coupe. It was a Mustang 2-door coupe with the real dark blue with a white interior. 4-speed manual transmission, no air conditioning, AM radio only, no speakers other than the speaker on the dash. Nothing fancy at all. No power, nothing. There was no power windows, no power, nothing. Okay, other than no power steering. Well, there were power steering in some of the bigger cars, I think, but Mustang didn't have it. You had to just muscle it, and it wasn't bad because that's what you've been doing on tractors, so it's the same thing. And but it was a great car. It had the spoke wheels, but it really wasn't spoke wheels. It was a hubcap, but it really did look like spoke wheels. I mean, it had a knockoff on the outside, or whatever you call it, and they were about like this. They about like this. I mean, they were pretty. I mean, I thought they were beautiful actually, and they were heavy. And but anyway, so yeah, I used to drive around downtown, and some of you may remember this. In most small towns, as you drove down the main street, on each side there were big store windows, huge glass windows that you could see your reflection in. You know what I mean? You could drive slow and you could see the reflection of your car or whatever. You know what I mean? And did I do that? Hell yeah, man. I was so proud of myself. I mean, I couldn't eat for 2 weeks because of that damn Mustang, man. And no, but that was a great little old car. I had a lot of fun. I used to go to drag races and all that stuff. I won't get into all that. But no, it was those were great times, man. We'd go to dances on the weekends, Friday night, Saturday night, following the moods. Went to Lindenau, Greenau, Cotton Patch, Weesack, Lentz Hall, the VFW in some town I can't remember. And there were several towns within 60 miles that every Friday night and Saturday night there was a dance. And I mean, and it would only go till midnight. They'd shut it down. They'd start at 9 usually, and then shut it down at midnight. And yeah, but it was great. Yeah, you go in there and drink beer and dance, have a good time, drive back home, have your girl with you and all that. It was a lot of fun. And but that was living in the 50s and early 60s, mainly the early 60s for me, because I wasn't old enough to really hit the dance uh, path or crowd much in the 50s. It was yeah, it was in the late 50s and early 60s that I really got into the going to dances stuff. Was I a good dancer? Uh, no, in my opinion, it wasn't worth a crap. You know, no, I was too shy, man. My legs wouldn't move. You know, if I got one of them sweet young things hugged up against me, everything froze up. You know what I mean? And I didn't know the dances. You know, and I had two sisters, but they never taught me crap. And some of the other guys had sisters that taught them how to dance and stuff. And but uh, but no, I did okay. I struggled along, you know, like most of the other guys did. You know, again, there was one guy though. I'll tell you his name. His name was Kelly Shaw. And he was a cousin of mine, and they called him Snake. And I'm gonna tell you what, old Snake, could he dance? Shit, girls would stand in line to dance with Kelly Shaw. No kidding, man. He could dance to any song, any dance, anything better than anybody in the whole community. And he used to ride around in a convertible with the brown girls in his convertible. There's two or three of them, and they were all pretty. And yeah, and they'd go to dances and stuff. But he'd dance. He was generous enough with his abilities, I guess, to dance with all the girls. You know, he'd just pick up one and say, "Come on," you know. And yeah, that's the way it was, man. And yeah, he always drove a hell of a nice car. He either had a Pontiac convertible or he had a Corvette and stuff. And no, was he really kin to me? I know. Here's to you. Here's to me, guys. Mm. Yeah, but those were fun times. And what does that have to do with sanity? A whole lot, man. Because the good times are still here. We just have a little interference that we need to kind of get around to get to them sometimes. And but yeah, you know, I don't know if they still have dances like they had back then. I'm sure they do. I just haven't been in an area where they do them. We used to go to Schrader Hall too. That was right near Victoria. Was that Victoria? Yeah, that was right. Schrader Hall was on the way to. But if you came the back way from Kennedy, it wasn't that far. It was only about 40 miles to Schrader Hall. Big dance hall. And I remember uh, uh, George Jones played there. A lot of the old country western singers would play there. You know, you had to pay $2 or $3 to get in, which was a lot of money to me. But you know, you knew it going in. It wasn't free, and but it was okay, man. And you know, once you got in, they always had a bar. They only served beer. Well, no, they did. They served setups. You know, you could get a thing of ice with uh, uh, some 7 Up or whatever you used to mix, and yeah, you could get setups. You had to bring your own booze though, but you could get beer, and but those were fun times, man, because all the whole families would come, you know. People would come there and they'd be dancing, and the woman would be holding a baby while they're dancing and stuff, or maybe two, who knows? I don't know. But the whole family, man, from any age to any age, man, and yeah, those were fun. We used to go to Lentz Hall. That was in Kennedy, right outside of Kennedy, about 10 miles, and just just I don't know. It was something exciting to look forward to. You know, of course, during football season, you know, you had Friday night football. You know, the Kennedy team was the Kennedy Lions, and they did okay. They for years they weren't very good, and then in 1960 they hired a coach from Hale named Coach Nelson, and he brought another coach with him, Coach Walker, and together they were hell. I mean, if you wanted to play, if you wanted to play football or any sport, you had to go through the punishment of boot camp with those guys, because we actually had, I think it was 1 week at the high school where we actually slept on cots, and in the morning you had what they call skull sessions, where you learn the plays and the stuff, and then right after that, you go out for a workout in the morning for about an hour or so, and break for lunch for a couple hours. Take a good break, and then in the afternoon you hit it pretty hard again, and then you'll run a few miles to get in shape. And no, he and when we went to scrimmages before those two coaches came, we always got wiped off the map. But when they came, the first scrimmage we went to, even though we had to push the bus to get it started, that's true, we did. We called it Old Green. Anyway, but and it wasn't green; it was regular school bus colors, yellow or whatever they are. And but anyway, when we got to the first scrimmage, I want to say it was in Three Rivers. I think there were like four teams represented there, and Coach Nelson's rule was this: usually before the scrimmages started, the teams were running wind sprints, like 20-yard, 30-yard, 40-yard, little shots, and his rule was we start running the wind sprints before anybody else, and we stay till they all quit. No kidding. No kidding, man. And he was big on this growling and shit, "Rawr," you know what I mean? No, but it actually, I think it did intimidate the opponents. They thought we were crazy, But anyway, yeah, so our first scrimmage with those two guys as coaches and assistant coach, oh yeah, it was a wipeout. No, we were animals. I mean, I wouldn't. I would. I mean, I might have been, but I didn't get to play a hell of a lot. But it was fun, and there was a lot of camaraderie and stuff doing that. And then of course, the first year they were there, we won the district championship and then lost by district. The second year we went to quarterfinals that they were there. Third year we went to semifinals and got beat by Katy, Texas, which was part of Houston back then. We were like 1A, I think, and they were just right on the verge of being 2A, which was a bigger school, and they had a lot more talent to pick from than we did. Poor old Coach Nelson and Coach Walker, they kind of got the leftovers, but we did pretty good. The score was 24-20, and that was, well, hell, at halftime it was 24-0. No kidding. Went in the locker room. Coach Nelson didn't say a damn word. He just walked right in front of us and looked at everybody and shook his head. That's it. That's all he did. He didn't say a damn thing. And Coach Walker went over some mistakes that some people were making, but went back on the field after halftime. Coach Nelson said, "Get out there and win this damn football game," and damn it, we didn't almost do it. But having said that, that's the old days, and the old days were good days for me, but the good days are always here. Even right now is good. I've got a trip coming up here next week. Maybe I'll be leaving out. It depends. I've got the roof pretty well completed now, so that's behind me. As far as the plumbing, I haven't heard anything from him, but I'll just go ahead and go. He'll call, and I'll say I'll be back in a month or so. That'll be the end of that. And but yeah, for Sanity, sometimes if you can remember some of the good things and fun things that you did in your youth, you know what I mean? Forget all the negative crap and all the screw ups you did and all the prisons that you visited. Forget all that crap, and just remember the good times, the good times, for the good times, you know what I mean? Mouth sure is getting dry. Here's to you guys. Let's go. But anyway, guys, with that in mind, look forward to seeing y'all in the morning at comment call. I've enjoyed the visit, and yeah, focus on staying sane. And I would tell you a joke, but I've told them 100 times. Well, some of them aren't that funny. Well, I mean, to me they're funny, but most of you they probably wouldn't be. I think I figured I lost 250 subscribers because I asked this dumbass Google thing what a male was and what a female was and how many sexes were there. I'm still getting feedback on that. No, oh hell, I've had people send me emails that you wouldn't believe, man. I'm telling you. I don't believe it. I'm telling you. But anyway, I'm glad they're gone. The hell with it. But anyway, having said that, guys, Beer 30 Sanity session is, well, I'm not through drinking, I'll tell you that. But anyway, thumbs up, guys. Carpe diem. Carpe diem means seize the day. In Latin, carpe diem, adios, bye-bye. Buy anything you want anytime. But if you think about it, use the link to Amazon products uh, if you want to fool with it. If you don't, it ain't going to hurt my feelings. But anyway, what else? Drink plenty of water. Well, forget that. It's beer 30. Uh, Stand guard at the door of your mind. You know what I mean. Keep all the negativity out. And that's hard to do. But enjoy your weekend, man. Cheer up. Put a smile on your face. Get back in the human race. And yeah, we got a whole life to live. But be that as it may, guys. Adios. See you in the morning. Bye bye.